Hello. For those that don't know me, my name is Adam Alidra. I'm a Microsoft Azure Solution Specialist. I help clients develop and adopt cloud strategies through the Azure platform. Today, in partnership with Noel DaCosta, DevOps practice leader at 3Cloud and Azure expert MSP, we'll share an exciting and transformational story and testimonial from our mutual client, Blattner Energy. We'll start by outlining the problem statement. Why is digital transformation enabling developer velocity increasingly critical to enterprises' futures and success? We'll explain what DevOps is, the tangible benefits your business can expect to realize, and how Microsoft is uniquely positioned to drive innovation within your organization. We'll walk you through DevOps and DevSecOps in practice, explaining continuous improvement methodology and Azure DevOps technology. You'll then hear directly from Blattner Company's CIO, Jason Apfelter, and Agile coach, Chris Hawkinson, on their DevOps journey. And then we'll make this real for you and show how Microsoft and 3Cloud can jointly enable developer velocity in your organization. We'll finally open it up to Q&A. During the course of today's webinar, please feel free to post your questions in the chat window. Every company wants to digitally transform. We see organizations reaping real tangible benefits. The positive outcomes are truly amazing. Customers have by now realized that their future success depends on making this transition a success. In a recent study, 91% of business leaders see digital transformation as a way of sparking innovation and finding efficiencies for their organizations. Every part of our life across all industries, from retail to healthcare, financial services, manufacturing, and more. Software is the heart of every company's strategy. Today, every company relies on software. Digital transformation is not just an aspirational goal, it is becoming the core of business success. Over the last few years, we've worked with many organizations across the globe on their digital transformations, more than 1,000 in fact. And we have noticed that the most successful ones are those that understand that this process is not one of just adding technology, but one of supporting their people to create the value the organization seeks. What we've learned is that organizations that successfully empower developers realize what's called developer velocity, enabling developers to create more, innovate more, and solve more problems. Developer velocity is the underpinning of each organization's tech intensity. Developer velocity is not just about speed, but about unleashing developer ingenuity, turning developers' ideas into software with speed and agility to support the needs of your customers and the business. Over the remainder of today's presentation, we'll discuss how instituting a DevOps culture produces an environment for developers to build productively, to securely collaborate within the team, the organization, and a broader global community of developers, and to scale innovation by helping developers empower your entire organization to participate in digital value generation. So in thinking about delivering on line of business needs, how does DevOps enable organizations to operate in a cohesive, agile, and traceable manner? It all starts by understanding what DevOps is and what it's not. DevOps is the union of people, process, and tools to enable continuous delivery of value to end users. Why is this important to businesses? Well, it provides the ability to execute ideas quickly and iterate on feedback rapidly, while at the same time maintaining the highest levels of quality. So only by combining technology, culture, and process change can a company hope to see the ROI enjoyed by the top 7% of organizations that implemented DevOps. Quality, speed, and efficiency are all tangible benefits of effectively implemented DevOps that lead to faster innovation and product differentiation. Azure DevOps and GitHub is naturally well suited to help facilitate cultural and process changes within an organization, as our platform has adapted to support the growth of the world's largest developer community. From a technology perspective, the two offer a scalable enterprise code-to-cloud DevOps platform. For example, GitHub Actions with built-in CI/CD, and more generally, GitHub Enterprise allow for full software development lifecycle automation from idea to deployment on any cloud as a hybrid solution or in a locally hosted environment. GitHub is also supported by an ecosystem of third-party solutions, allowing unparalleled flexibility and empowering your teams to do their best work with the tools that they prefer. Quality, speed, and efficiency are all tangible benefits of effectively implemented DevOps that lead to faster innovation and product differentiation. In fact, an independent research firm found DevOps organizations who successfully implemented DevOps increased deployment by 46 times and improved lead time for changes by 2,555 times. In summary, DevOps enables organizations to increase top-line revenues while driving out operational costs and reduce the risk of failure rates and time to recover. So underscoring Azure DevOps and GitHub Enterprise sits the Microsoft Azure platform, the home for any developer and IT professional. The Azure platform is flexible, supporting all stages of the app development journey. Whether you're looking to simply lift and shift your applications using infrastructure as a service, modernize your on-premise applications using our wide array of platforms as a service offerings, including containers, microservices, or serverless functions, or enabling your organization to adopt a hybrid cloud approach. With over 60 regions worldwide, including 100+ data centers and our own dark fiber network that spans 130,000 miles, you can expect improved performance, scalability, and resiliency, all backed by over $1 billion of investments a year in security and our trust center. Lastly, it's an open platform. Developers can have confidence knowing they can bring their own platform, operating systems, languages, and tools. In short, build, deploy, and protect applications the way you want. Just bring your code. I'm now going to turn it over to Noel DaCosta to share his insights on best practices to adopt a DevOps framework. Noel, over to you.
Thank you, Adam. So let's continue where Adam left off with the definition of DevOps. So DevOps is the union of people, process, and products to enable continuous delivery of value to your end users. The key word here is value, continuous delivery of value. This implies that DevOps is a set of principles and practices that enables an organization to make the delivery of their applications lean and efficient, while leveraging feedback from customers and users to continuously improve. The continuous improvement of the application and its environment comes from the feedback mechanism. This feedback is used to improve both the product itself and the environment it's delivered on. DevOps involves improving the process of delivering the application, the entire IT delivery lifecycle. So how do we make the process of delivering the application leaner and more efficient? Well, we gather feedback, and then we continuously improve the process based on that feedback. Agile development practices apply some of these lean principles to development and testing, and DevOps applies them to end-to-end application delivery, from ideation to production. So it's important to take the time to map your delivery pipeline and to look for bottlenecks in how your delivery pipeline operates. Value stream mapping helps identify those bottlenecks, which can then be addressed by DevOps initiatives. Let's start with Agile culture. Agile and DevOps go hand in hand. While it's possible to implement DevOps for waterfall delivery, the best outcomes and cross-functional collaboration can actually be achieved by implementing DevOps with Agile. This is especially true for achieving faster time to market. While DevOps is focused on breaking down silos between development and operations and increasing the velocity and quality of software delivery, Agile directly refers to early and continuous delivery of valuable software. And so while Agile focuses heavily on customer collaboration and developer-customer feedback loops, DevOps emphasizes collaboration between development and operations. That's the dev and the ops. So Agile implies customer centricity and focus. With this, the product owner has the right perspective in prioritizing the backlog for sprints. While business seeks to deliver as much as possible with each release, it has to work with the capacity constraints of the delivery team. So customer focus really helps with refining the backlog, enabling the top value items to be prioritized for each sprint. Then, as with any transformation or business process, it's important to be able to measure where we are today and to know that we are making progress with our initiatives. This is where metrics come in. There's a plethora of metrics in the DevOps toolchain that should be leveraged to provide this visibility and confirm that we are achieving the outcomes expected. It's really important to identify the set of metrics you will use to track your progress. Take a snapshot of those as a baseline when you start on the journey, and then measure periodically to confirm that you are making progress as planned. Let's talk a bit about quality. With DevOps, we seek to achieve speed to market. And with that, there's an implication that quality is compromised, but not so. With DevOps, it's important to focus on quality first. Quality is not an afterthought confirmed by the QA process. It's everybody's responsibility. It needs to shift left into the requirements, the design, the development process, and early feedback is critical. Code analysis and automated testing are key to achieving this. This includes things like static and dynamic analysis, along with automated validation of unit tests, integration tests, functional and regression tests, and their coverage. It's important to measure coverage of functionality versus the requirements, the number of test cases executed, the total number of defects identified during testing, etc. And then the output of these processes must be used as gates in the continuous integration, continuous delivery process, the CI/CD process, to ensure that the product has its quality validated before allowing it to progress to the next delivery stage. So this is where some of the quality metrics can help ensure that your updates are truly fit for production. Next, let's discuss integration with third-party products. Very few applications exist in isolation. There is typically integration with other applications and vendor products. This can create a dependency that could slow down the delivery process. It's really important to understand how the vendor process fits into your own delivery process and to ensure that their SLAs and contracts enable you to achieve your delivery objectives. DevOps must focus on the end-to-end process in order to achieve the expected outcomes. If not, it might serve to just move the bottleneck to another place in the process. Therefore, it must be looked at holistically. As we heard in the definition of DevOps, it involves transformation across people, process, and product. It's a cultural evolution that requires a strategic view of the entire IT delivery lifecycle. Some tactical initiatives are necessary to address immediate opportunities for improvement, but it's necessary to plan for the strategic transformation across the entire lifecycle in order to move the organization to a DevOps operating model. Now, we touched on quality a moment ago. An important aspect of that is security. Any continuous delivery pipeline must take into consideration security. It should not be an afterthought and the responsibility of a cybersecurity or a compliance team. We'll be touching more on this later. Finally, let's talk about infrastructure and operations. How do you provision the infrastructure resources that your application will run on? How do you ensure consistency in your environments and facilitate their deployment? Infrastructure automation is key to achieving that outcome. Infrastructure as code ensures that your deployments are consistent and as expected. This is a key DevOps practice and is used in conjunction with continuous delivery pipelines. And then from a production and operations perspective, we must seek to have close collaboration between dev and ops so that the operations team can effectively support your production environment and meet your product's SLAs. Monitoring and alerting are key to providing those insights to be able to proactively identify and address issues before they can have a customer impact. Are you logging, monitoring, and alerting on the right metrics? Do you have the right workflows to respond to the alerts? These are the kind of things that play an important part in troubleshooting and resolving issues and improving mean time to recover, MTTR. Now let's take a look at the DevOps toolchain. So Microsoft's Azure DevOps provides a fully integrated DevOps toolchain, starting with managing your demand pipeline, all the way from boards through automated deployments to your target environments, including production. With Azure boards, you have a full-fledged work item management system to track progress on software projects. It contains native support for Scrum or Kanban. It has customizable dashboards and integrated reporting. This actually forms a bridge between the business and IT and actively engages the business in the process of fostering closer collaboration. Boards actually provide visibility into the IT process, enabling better management of business requirements and team capacity and resources. Next, let's talk about repos. Here we have a choice to use Azure DevOps hosted Git repos or GitHub hosted repos. Azure DevOps repos provide unlimited private Git repo hosting and support for TFVC version control that scales from a hobby project all the way to the world's largest Git repos. While GitHub provides both private and public repos with built-in dependency and security scanning, advanced collaboration, and inner sourcing. Next, Azure build and release pipelines enable continuous delivery capabilities, including continuous delivery for containerized workloads with deep Kubernetes integration. It's a cloud service that allows users to build and test code projects, allowing them to be available to other users. It combines CI/CD to build and ship your application to any target. With test plans, we have a browser-based test management solution that provides capabilities for planned manual testing, user acceptance testing, exploratory testing, and more. It has the capability for associating automated test cases to test cases within manual test suites and has tight integration with automated tests that are written in .NET test automation frameworks. And finally, with artifacts, we have an artifact repository that enables you to share code efficiently. You can keep your Maven, NPM, NuGet, and Python packages and more in the same place. You can also aggregate from public registries and internal teams and publish and track from any pipeline. Now, GitHub Enterprise or GitHub Actions achieves similar functionality, and we must make some decisions on the appropriate tool set for our needs. GitHub and Azure DevOps can also be used together very effectively. The key is to plan your migration to these tool sets carefully. We need to look at the feature parity between the two products presently, see what serves our immediate needs, and also plan the path to migrate to GitHub when the time is right. If you're presently on TFS, the Azure DevOps interface will be familiar and the transition easier. Also, if you want to continue using TFVC for version control, then you would need to use Azure DevOps. A common path for our clients with the TFS migration is to move to Azure DevOps with Git hosted on GitHub repos, and then adopt other GitHub capabilities as the feature sets coalesce. So Microsoft is actively working on making the migration from Azure DevOps to GitHub as seamless as possible. So the high-level guidance is to continue to leverage Azure DevOps in conjunction with GitHub, and then follow along with the Azure DevOps and GitHub feature roadmaps to know when the right time is to fully migrate. The transition path to GitHub and the timing depends entirely on the needs of your business. Your Microsoft account team and 3Cloud can help map the right path for you. Now let's take a look at the broader DevOps tool environment. So keep in mind that with Azure DevOps or GitHub, it's not an all or nothing adoption. You can choose to use just the components that you want and integrate with other systems of your choice. It's an open system and lends itself to integration with several popular tools as you see on the screen. If you already have investments in some other tool sets and it's not currently feasible to move completely to Azure DevOps or GitHub, there are plugins and extensions available for most of the popular tool sets. However, keep in mind that leveraging a fully integrated tool chain will help prevent tool sprawl and reduce the cost and complexity of your delivery systems. So earlier I'd mentioned we'd spend some more time discussing security. So the next topic we talk about is DevSecOps. In our perspective, when we talk about DevOps and we implement DevOps, we implicitly build security into it. DevSecOps explicitly calls out security and ensures it's a part of the DevOps model. That is, DevSecOps includes development plus security plus operations. It's an approach that brings together application development, security operations, and infrastructure as a service in an automated continuous delivery cycle. DevSecOps seeks to automate, monitor, and apply security at all phases of the software lifecycle across plan, develop, build, test, release, deliver, deploy, operate, and monitor. Security is everyone's responsibility, not just the cybersecurity team. With DevSecOps, we seek to shift security as far left as possible in the IT delivery lifecycle. It begins by understanding where security vulnerabilities can be introduced in your product and environment, and securing your toolchain accordingly. Role-based access controls at every stage of the process are critical to ensuring security. Access should be based on least privilege. Do the right individuals have the appropriate access to the toolchain? Do you have the right policies on your code branches with pull request criteria defined and implemented? Are you using security scanning tools, both static and dynamic, to identify and eliminate vulnerabilities? Are your pipelines secure? Do you have the right gates to ensure only qualified releases are promoted through the environments? And is there collaboration between your security and compliance teams to make sure that the criteria are being met? Understandably, security then is a team and community effort and includes automated and autonomous security at scale. And it's very critical to factor that into your DevOps model. And now let's hear from one of our customers, Blattner, that has been on the Agile DevOps journey. Let's hear from them on what that journey has been like and what outcomes they've been able to achieve.
Jason, Chris, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. So Jason, Chris, really appreciate the opportunity today to spend a little bit of time having you share with other IT professionals and leaders about your DevOps journey working with Microsoft and 3Cloud. I guess just to kick things off, if you could just tell us a little bit about your roles, your responsibilities at Blattner, and just the Blattner company, who you guys are as an organization. I think that'd be a great place to start.
Yeah, and I can start. And thanks, Adam. My name is Chris Hawkinson. I'm one of the development managers and Agile coaches here at Blattner. And so part of my responsibility is to work with the developers and automation experts, scrum masters, and product owners, and work really closely with the business, specifically the product owners, as we roll out Agile delivery teams here and have them embrace and adopt Azure DevOps. So that's my role. Jason, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Chris. My name is Jason Apfalter. I'm the Vice President of Technology. Been with Blattner just under 3 years. I can tell you a little bit about the company. Blattner, we are an industry-leading renewable construction EPC contractor, basically constructing renewable energy projects across the United States. As a company, we really strive to deliver a better renewable construction experience for our clients. The other side of that is the employee side, which is really exciting to be part of a company working towards a sustainable future for all.
Thank you, Jason and Chris. I know you've been on an Agile journey. Can you touch on a little bit of why you chose to go to Agile?
Sure. So I can take that one, Noel. Basically, the journey that we're on started 2.5 years ago when I first started. My very first day here with the company, I was brought into a meeting where leadership was prioritizing IT projects, and at that time we were still very waterfall based, and they were projects and not products at that time. And we'll get into more of that later. But when I came to that meeting, there was probably 30 to 40 projects on that on a big spreadsheet that we were looking at. And the leadership had 4 more projects that they wanted to start. And the question to me on my first day was, okay, Jason, based on what you see, do you think we can get these 4 projects started? And at that time, we'd spin up new teams, tear teams down after projects got done. I looked at the spreadsheet, and basically all the projects, 10 of the projects out of the 30 were set at 90% complete. And I looked at everyone, and I said, yeah, I think we can get it done. Start these 4 based on this. We should be done with these 10 projects in another month. They're all at 90-some% complete. And I got a little chuckle out of the room, and I asked why is everyone laughing? And it was, these projects have been at 90% for probably 4 to 5 months. and we haven't been able to complete them. And that's really where we started our Agile journey and educating the business on moving from waterfall to Agile. And the reason is we were able to then whittle that down to 10 major projects and start to prioritize at a feature level and start to deliver to the business. And this was the first time over that 2.5-year journey that we've been on that we were able as an IT department to actually deliver value in an incremental pace to the business instead of a waterfall where we were delivering maybe something at the end of 1 year or 2 year. And when I say something, it wasn't always what the business wanted when they started that 1 to 2 year journey. So it's been a great journey. And when we started that journey as an IT organization, we made sure that we brought the business along with us on Agile, and we educate them as we went, and we didn't go to Agile by ourselves. We went as a company or as a business. So that's really how we started on the journey and where we're kind of at today.
Yeah, so that's great, Jason. Sounds like really coalescing people, processes, and tools has really enabled you to accelerate time to value for your business. That's wonderful. So I know, when we started this conversation, your developers, your team had exposure to a number of different DevOps type tools that are out there in the marketplace. What led you to Azure DevOps, and why did you land on that particular solution set?
So with Azure DevOps, like you said, Adam, a lot of other tools have been used by a lot of other developers and hands-on keyboard talent, and we started looking at Azure DevOps, and obviously the user interface is great. That only takes you so far, like what's going on in the back end. And when the developers kind of got their fingers on it, they said, well, wait a minute, like from a repository, code check-in, wiki, I mean, the functionality is on the back end really great too. And because we've had a lot of other tools that have been used both here at Blattner and previous companies that we've worked at, we thought, wow, like this is something that's really great that we could use. And when we started rolling it out, we thought, all right, we'll just give IT the first crack at it. And we rolled it out to 1 or 2 teams, and then 2 became 3 and 4. And then finally, after getting some of the hands-on keyboard talent to use it more and more, we're running all of our stories and all of our sprints. So then when we rolled it out in IT, we have something here called a corporate demo day. In Agile, we all know what demos are, but we started rolling it out to the business because we had a corporate demo day with like 140 some odd people. We demoed Azure DevOps, and lo and behold, immediately after, I'm getting phone calls, IMs texting, hey, what is this Azure thing or Azure DevOps thing or whatever? Oh, well, it's a Microsoft tool. It's Azure DevOps, and we use this for stories and sprints. And holy cow, like it was awesome because the business, nobody in IT even is using it. Like everybody in IT is using this, but in the business, we've got probably 20 different business lines using Azure DevOps for their own board. And then as the business, to Jason's point, how can we help service this? As the business started using it, we said, all right, now let's start rolling out Agile delivery teams. So we, a year ago, we only had 1. Now we've got 8 different Agile delivery teams, and they're all using Azure DevOps, and the communication is just through the roof. And using like the wiki, for instance, to help communicate some of those changes has just been phenomenal.
Wow, that's super impressive.
Yeah, thank you for that, Chris. Jason, this is Tim speaking, and thanks for the time here today. Wanted to ask you, what led you to choose 3Cloud for this Azure DevOps project?
Sure, that's a good question, Tim, and one that that's really kind of changed how Blattner approaches some of our vendor relationships on the technology side. On our business side, we've always looked to partnerships. We've always wanted to have partnerships, and when we started working with 3Cloud, we started sensing that partnership. And when I say that, it's because when we had the all-day offsite with 3Cloud Microsoft, I know Tim was there, Noel was there, Matt from 3Cloud, and then Adam, you were there. We sat down, and I fully expected that we were going to go in there and we were going to be we were going to be sold solutions, and we were going to solution our problems to death. And I was pleasantly surprised that probably the first 4 hours of an all-day meeting on how we were going to tackle Azure and then Azure DevOps and all the pieces in Azure, 3Cloud came in and spent that first 4 hours really understanding Blattner as a business. we never talk solutions, we never talk technology and what we need to buy, what we must do to be successful. We really, 3Cloud came in, brought the right engineers, and we whiteboarded what is Blattner? What are we trying to solve? What are our use cases? We spent half the day doing that. Then the second, starting to get into some thoughts and ideas of what might help Blattner. Again, we still weren't saying, 3Cloud wasn't saying you must buy this or you must get our services. You're really a partner, and that's what we're looking for, someone that could partner with us long term and help us through this. The second piece of that was we're looking at Azure DevOps, and 3Cloud came to us and they weren't saying, like a lot of companies, we need a lump sum payment on these different dates in order to complete a project and really working waterfall. You went down the Agile path of working together as a partner and using the Azure DevOps tool that we were looking to bring into the company as our communication method. So we actually loaded all our stories in DevOps, and we used the product that we're looking to install and implement in Blattner. So, through that partnership, I think that's really why we stayed with 3Cloud, and we still look to 3Cloud today to do a lot of partnership and implementations with us, just because of your Agile methodology you use and the understanding of the business use case to make sure that you're implementing the right solution for us.
Great, thank you, Jason. That was good to hear. Now you've been on this DevOps journey for a while. Can you tell us how that's evolving and what are some of the outcomes you've been able to achieve?
Sure, I can take that one. So a little bit earlier, I mentioned the product delivery teams or Agile delivery teams, and to Jason's point, we're very deliberately using product, not project, where you upload the team when you're done and send them off on their merry way. So a year ago, we had one Agile delivery team or one product delivery team, and I think with working with the business and leadership, they started to see, well, wait a minute, if you can really dedicate time to the really key products, how can we leverage that more? So we piloted with a couple of product teams, and then now we've got 8 product teams, and it's evolving in such a way because the business is on board every step of the way, and using the tools that we have in place and delivering, sprint after sprint, doing demos and all the different Agile ceremonies that are out there. That's how it's evolved. What was once, a year or two ago, something that was kind of let's give it a try, is now just kind of in the fabric of what Blattner is. And not only are the delivery teams doing Agile stand-ups, we've got 20, 30 different teams, business areas doing daily stand-ups as well. And it has nothing to do with IT. It's really about, how can we use the tools that we have in place, like Azure DevOps, like Agile stand-ups. And it's evolved in such a way that it's just the potential here is growing exponentially. We've done a lot. You don't want to reflect too much in the past, but we know that what we've done in the past has really set us up in the future. So in terms of how it's evolving, sky's the limit. It's really cool to see how these teams are evolving and using these different boards and functionality, and it's going to be really great to see where we go from here.
Wow, what an amazing customer testimonial. So Jason, Chris, we really appreciate the opportunity today, and you coming forward to tell your story, right? Tell your journey in partnership with 3Cloud and Microsoft team. We really appreciate the opportunity to be able to empower the individuals that work for your organization and your organization as a whole. Thank you so much, and have a great day.
Enjoy the day. Yep.
Thanks, everybody.
Wow. Thank you, Blattner, for your testimony and kind words. Much appreciated. You might be wondering how Blattner was able to get on that DevOps journey. So let's take a look at what a typical DevOps enablement journey looks like. So this journey typically starts with a health check or an assessment. It's really important to know where we are before we can decide and plan where we want to be. So therefore, we need to take a snapshot of the metrics as the baseline when we start. At 3Cloud, we have a well-defined assessment methodology that we implement in this step or phase that identifies where you are relative to leading or best practices. So this step starts with a workshop that brings all the stakeholders to the table. Remember that we discussed that DevOps looks at the delivery lifecycle end to end. So this workshop brings together individuals and teams that potentially are siloed and have limited collaboration with each other. The workshop then serves as an enlightening moment for many and provides an understanding of the challenges that each group faces. It's also an opportunity to hear firsthand and document how they deliver across the life cycle with people, process, and products. Then we spend some time examining the process documents and artifacts, all the way from Agile boards and workflows, code repos and branching strategies, the code review processes, build and release pipelines, gating criteria, test plans, etc., in order to understand where things are being done well and where they're not as optimal. We then document these observations and their impacts. Then we work together to define a target state. Bear in mind that with DevOps, there is no one-size-fits-all. Each enterprise has its own target state. DevOps maturity can be measured across the spectrum from low performers to elite. Do we want to be an elite player? Perhaps not. Elite players are the ones that deploy to production multiple times a day with teams and resources geared for that delivery. For other organizations, it may provide bragging rights, but provide limited value. So beyond a certain point, you'll likely see diminished returns on your investment in DevOps. It's therefore important to determine the target state and the optimal DevOps maturity for you at the outset. Next, we identify recommendations that address these gaps and move towards that target state. And we design a high-level roadmap to document the DevOps enablement journey. So after the health check, what's next? Do we boil the ocean and tackle DevOps for the enterprise? Perhaps not. An optimal step is to pilot some of these recommendations with a specific team or application. That's where we implement a DevOps jumpstart that works to serve tactical needs for that team in alignment with the roadmap. The jumpstart implements recommendations across boards, code management, CI/CD pipelines, and monitoring and alerting. And it also includes migration from existing systems to Azure DevOps, GitHub, or a combination. Then you have a working model of DevOps, and then you can begin to scale this to the enterprise. Now, this is the stage when you need to define and implement a DevOps transformation across the organization. As we mentioned earlier, DevOps covers the entire IT delivery lifecycle and involves change across people, process, and product. So then this involves a cultural evolution and requires a strategic focus on DevOps for the enterprise. This phase includes additional deep dive assessments, baselines, gap analysis, and definition of an enterprise target state, roadmap, and implementation plan. The transformation journey is typically a multi-year journey that incrementally moves the organization to a DevOps model. If you want to get on this journey, feel free to reach out to your Microsoft account team or 3Cloud representatives to find out how we can help you either start or continue your DevOps journey. Adam, I'll hand it back to you to close out the discussion.
Great, thanks, Noel. So we covered a lot of ground over the course of today's session. As we look to wrap up, I would like to introduce and propose one takeaway for our attendees. We have an upcoming free GitHub Actions Lab training series, so you can roll up your sleeves and learn how to use and integrate GitHub technology with Azure DevOps. I'll make sure to send the details out after this training to the email address on file captured through the Eventbrite registration page. For those interested in getting started, again, as Noel referenced, please reach out to your local Microsoft and/or 3Cloud rep, and we'll be happy to help you build your DevOps strategy. We'll now open it up to questions and answers. Noel, back to you.
Thank you, Adam. I'm looking for some questions here. I don't see any yet. There's one here that says, can we get the slides? What's our take on that, Adam? Do we make the slides available or the recording?
Absolutely. Yep. We'll make sure to save those as PDF and then send those to the emails on file. Not a problem.
Okay. What other questions do we have? Feel free to type them in the chat. We'll take a stab at addressing those. Here's a question. Do you integrate with ServiceNow? And the answer to that is absolutely. So one of the things we talked about with operations, when you have your alerts that come out of your monitoring, there's integration with ServiceNow to be able to create a ticket in ServiceNow so the operation teams can address them. There's also integration between Azure DevOps pipelines and ServiceNow. So if you have approvals required for production and for other phases in your process, you could have approval tickets created in ServiceNow if you choose. And then once the approval is done, the pipeline can continue. Good question. I see a couple more coming up. Well, these are not questions. They're saying thank you. Any more questions? All right. Adam, I think that's it. There are no more questions, it appears. So maybe we did a great job addressing all those questions that were in people's minds. Back to you, Adam, to wrap up. Adam, you're on mute.
All right. Thanks, Noel. And thank you all for the opportunity to present to you all today and taking the time to learn more about how Microsoft and 3Cloud are able to support your DevOps journey. We look forward to supporting your business digital transformation and developer velocity path forward. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.